Welcome to another episode of Sanctuary Radio. This is a podcast brought to you by Sanctuary Recovery Centers. Our mission is to break the stigma surrounding addiction, to empower others to live addiction-free lives, providing hope to those who suffer from addiction and offer continued care and true healing. Oh my God, here we are, another episode of Sanctuary Radio. I got my co-host, Haley, is in the building. She's here. I don't have to Bluetooth her in. I don't have to use a green screen. We don't have to do any of those things. And she has her hair and makeup done because she went to a wedding 2 days ago and it's still done.
Thanks. Yeah.
God.
Actually, Jason just always hits me with something. It blows it into place. We'll just stick with that, Jason.
I just give her a speech, blow her hair back, and it's right into place.
Yeah. He usually says, don't mess this up. I'm the PG version.
Right.
Yeah, we'll keep it PG, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that because our special guest today, Christin Day, is here.
Hi.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
I know, I'm so excited.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Personal friend. I mean, this is great. But most importantly, when we come on the show, we like to bring the all-stars in the recovery community.
Right.
So you work for Art of Our Soul with Brandon Lee.
I do.
So why don't you just take a minute just to talk about what that's like? And if you don't know Brandon Lee, look him up. Was on the newscaster or whatever
News anchor.
News anchor. He was a news anchor. He's one of us. And, you know, he just does beautiful, beautiful things for the recovery community. Why don't you share a little bit more and welcome to the show?
Thank you so much. So we have a art studio off of 12th Street and Bethany, and super blessed. It's not open to the public, but we have it open to treatment centers and mental health facilities, and we partner up with them. Typically a couple of the places do 4 sessions a month and come every week. And, we have like 15 clients per class, and it's just super awesome. We put the music up loud and
teach jam on it, huh?
And we jam out and pour some acrylic paint and manipulate it and fling shit everywhere.
And it looks amazing every time. It looks like
every one of them.
Like it's so fire.
Yeah.
I love it.
I
got
mean,
to tour the studio.
dryer.
It's actually really cool in there.
No, I've seen a bunch on social media. I mean, it is everywhere. I mean, and the artwork looks amazing.
Well, and what's cool about Brandon is he left the news to go full time in helping people like us. And that's what is so inspiring about his story.
For sure.
What's it like working with him?
Oh my God.
He's a hoot. I love going over there.
I fucking love that man so much. Honestly, like he's changed my life. He's such a spiritual person.
Yeah.
Yes.
He reminds me of my husband. And it's funny because my husband.
Shout out Ian Day. Big shout out to the big homie.
It's funny because Ian's like, that's my man crush.
I want to meet him, and I know we're going to set that up, or you can come over there. We're going to bring our clients over there because it's so therapeutic.
Right.
When we treat this thing, we got to treat everything, right?
Right.
And so when we talk about spirituality in recovery, spirituality is an experience.
Right.
It's all about how you experience your higher power in your life. I experience it through soccer and music and playing sports and prayer and meditation and service work. But another one that's a huge part of pretty much everybody's recovery, and that's art. We do art therapy here,
right?
But that art therapy over there, that's next level.
It really is, yeah.
It's like frame it and put it in your house type stuff.
We did a painting today for my 5 years, and I got
all whoa! I totally almost forgot. Way to slide that in there.
Yes.
That's freaking amazing.
Happy sobriety birthday.
Yes.
So
our sobriety dates are very close.
Yes.
I'm coming up on 5 years in February.
Fuck yeah.
That's February, Jason. Slow down. No, I'm just kidding.
Happy 4 years, buddy. Happy 4 years.
I got to step all over it. What about me?
No fronts, Jason.
Right. What about me?
Right.
That's funny.
And so anytime we have anybody on the show, it's always one of the things that I like to do is, like, how do we know each other, right?
Right.
And so for myself and Christin, like, I was seeing her everywhere, right? Because she's a huge figure in the recovery community. When I got out of prison, I was hitting, which I still do, hit meetings and do a bunch of speaker stuff, and I'm just around and with the fellowship, and she was there everywhere we went. And then we got to talking and realized that
we know a lot of the same
We
people.
know everybody. Like, we're talking about baby daddies, we're talking about brother-in-laws, like people that I know, like grew up with.
Ex-brother-in-laws.
Ex-brother-in-laws, this is in the past. type stuff that we're talking about from like high school. Like we literally hung out with.
So you guys probably hung out at some point at the same party and didn't even realize
I'm
it.
telling you, we definitely partied together.
Yeah,
back
I
in
mean, I'm
high
sure
school
she
days.
held my legs on a keg stand. Like I'm almost
For
positive.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's awesome.
And so it's just crazy how, I believe that, Ronnie, no matter what, big shout out my co-host on my personal podcast, he said one thing one time, and, everything that I say, none of it's original stuff. It's stuff I hear from other people. And he said, God wears people clothes.
Exactly.
And so I believe that every one of us and everyone who comes on the show and you especially, it gives me the ability to experience my higher power when I think about like, here we are today.
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
that shit's crazy.
It's crazy. So
right.
crazy.
Like, especially
how
like
everything happens full circle.
when I say no the same people, I'm talking about
Like
know 'em.
literally
like
hung out all the time with the same people.
It's pretty cool. And then Haley and you guys were just at a wedding together, right?
Yeah. So her husband, so my sister's new husband was best man's in their
my
wedding.
wedding.
So that's how we met.
I mean, we're connected.
Yeah,
We're all
we're literally
connected.
family now. That's how I feel about it. Yeah.
No, we're connected.
For sure.
So, but every journey starts somewhere. You
Right.
have to have that lived experience, right, to earn your seat, right? And so let's hear a little bit about your lived experience. So every journey starts somewhere, and you're an Army brat.
I am. My dad was in
The
the
second she was
military.
explaining what was going on, the way she was moving, I was like, yeah, you were in the military. Your dad was in the military.
Yeah. So why don't you
Yeah.
just explain what childhood was like? Your dad being in the Army, bouncing around. You lived in Germany for a little bit.
I did. I spoke German before I spoke English.
That's awesome.
Can you
Yeah.
still speak?
Mutafika.
You should,
Oh my
you
God.
should speak German to Tyler because Tyler's
Dang,
German.
she just cussed me out. Guarantee it.
That's the only word I know.
Production,
That's
we're going to
funny.
need you to translate that word and put it on there. Thank you. So, but what was it like? Because you were in Germany for a few years, and then you're 9 years old. Your parents get divorced. So why don't you just take a minute just to kind of share what that whole time period was like for us?
So like growing up in the military, like it was beautiful at first, but like my dad was an alcoholic and
Right.
we moved around a lot. We'd get comfortable, we'd move around, get comfortable, we move around. And I was born in Fort Hood, and then we moved to Germany. And
Did you like it there?
from what I remember,
Oh, you were young. You were young.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah, you were
I was
young.
a baby and going through a lot of stuff there. Like my mom was pregnant and she ended up having my sister in Germany, and we lived in like the Ronald McDonald house and
Right.
stuff like that. So like it was really rough. There was a lot of health issues and it was horrible. My parents ended up giving her up for adoption because it was a lot to handle.
Oh my gosh.
And you're going to hear the P word a lot, right? What P word am I talking about?
I don't know. I was shaking my head like I knew.
What P word? So the P word that I heard growing up my whole life was potential.
Potential.
But in both of your guys' episode, the P word we're going to be talking about is pregnant. There's a lot of that.
Yes.
And I understand and I get it. And you and Haley get it especially. There's such an attachment with, and I seen it with my own brother, right?
Right.
Like he has this marriage, right, that they don't like each other. When you come home from work and you sit in the car just to make sure that everyone's asleep before you come in, that is a problem.
That way you
Right.
don't have to deal with each other.
Yeah,
Like, you're
right.
just-
Yes.
That's a problem, and then you think that if we have a baby, everything's going to be better,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
That's literally why I had all my
Baby
kids.
fixes everything.
Right. And it's crazy. And so I know that with both of your guys'
Right.
stories, but it was the same way with my brother. And it went from houses, let's get another house, let's have another baby, let's
Right.
have another
Get
baby.
another
They had
car.
3 babies, new
Right.
car, new house. And finally, when they were done having babies, they were done buying houses, they were done having dogs. When they were done with all those things, now here we are.
And now we
Right.
got to deal with each other.
And now they're
Ugh.
divorced.
Right, exactly.
Right. So you're going to hear the P word, pregnant word, and it's important for other women to hear this because, we're not unique.
Right.
And that's what gives us we're unique in a sense that we have the ability to use our story to help others.
Right.
So your parents get divorced 9 years old. Now mom moved to Michigan or Colorado?
We lived in Michigan. Mom lived in Michigan. Dad lived in Colorado. He got stationed out there, and like I said, we moved back and forth. So
Yeah,
Anytime she was mad at mom, I'm going to dad's.
My mom was like bringing
Exactly.
random dudes home from the bar, and I'm like, oh, you're not my dad. I don't have to listen. Mom, I don't want to live here anymore. I want to go home with my dad.
I want to go with dad.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you get to dad's, and then you
And
say,
then he's got like a whole wife, and they started having kids, and I'm like, oh, you're not my mom. I don't have to listen to you.
Right.
You know?
I'm going back to mom's house.
Yep, straight up.
So how long did that last? We're from Michigan to
God.
Michigan to Colorado.
9 until I was 13.
Until you were 13.
Yeah.
And then you were 13, and then what ends up happening?
I moved out here to Arizona with my mom and my stepdad, and I went up to Deer Valley High School.
Shout out, dear. What was the mascot?
Skyhawks.
Oh, the Skyhawks. What's your
I don't know what
mascot?
a Skyhawk
What's your
is,
mascot
so.
in Wickenburg? Do you guys have mascots?
Wickenburg Wranglers.
Oh yeah, you know what
It was
it
literally a
is.
cow-
And you
Cowboy
were
with a rope.
cactus cobras.
Shout out to all the cobras out there.
See, like everybody
Yeah.
thought that I went to Cactus because I partied with everybody from
Yeah,
Right.
Cactus.
yeah, that's right.
So-
I mean, like everybody.
There's
Yeah.
only one high school in Wickenburg. So
I remember.
That's it.
I remember
One
we
way
were.
in, one way out.
Exactly.
I remember we were at a meeting when we first like got to talking. We're like, "How you look familiar? Like, we doing?" And then were you Peoria? What? Who do you know? Oh my God! And
Right.
literally went down the list, and it
Like
was
the
just-
people that adopted my daughter, like he knows them. Like,
Right.
just called me.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's crazy.
so nuts.
And so now you find yourself out here. You moved to 51st and Union Hills. You're going to Deer Valley. But during this period of time, you also get introduced to smoking weed and drinking. And
I
here
was
we
in
go.
marching band, so like I was a band geek.
I love it.
This one time in band camp,
Oh yeah,
What
tell
instrument
the
did you
story.
play?
I played the clarinet.
I played the
Oh.
trumpet.
Yeah,
Oh.
I played the
you
clarinet,
wanted to
and I
be
remember
loud,
like
huh?
the top hat and like having
The
to like.
trumpet's the easiest.
Oh God.
I feel like for me, it was the easiest.
God.
Marching band in the flag line. You guys were flag line marching band girls.
I didn't do
Listen,
flag line.
I didn't
just
do
did
flag
band.
line. I definitely
I did band and
marching
theater, basketball, and
Heel
rodeo.
to toe, heel to toe.
Okay.
You
well,
know.
I mean,
And-
I guess I guarantee you guys were the prettiest ones in the whole damn thing. I guarantee that's what I can guarantee.
Yeah, definitely in Wickenburg for sure.
Right.
Just kidding.
Yeah, you're the prettiest girl in Wickenburg. There's only 15 of them.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys.
Love it.
Yeah, and so you go to Deer Valley High School, but you don't last very long there. What I mean,
No,
you
I
get
got kicked out sophomore year for bringing a knife to school. To
bringing a
stab
knife, like a
Yeah.
Crocodile Dundee knife.
like a little butterfly knife.
Uh,
You know,
You one of these?
stab a girl.
One of these?
She was messing with my boyfriend, and I didn't know how to fight. And like, I
so
got
you were just gonna stab her?
yeah.
That's awesome.
I
I love
know.
how your mind just immediately goes to, I'm
Straight
just gonna
to violence.
stab someone.
Yes, you know.
I can relate to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fighter. I was a lover. So
Yeah,
like
I was a fighter. I fought everybody.
now I'm a fighter.
Yeah.
Well, I should say I'm changed now, but
Yeah,
yeah.
I got character.
As you got
let's
older.
let's weaponize the program for a minute. Progress, not perfection, Kristen. You're okay.
I am
It's okay.
right?
Right.
And so, you get kicked out of the school and then you go to a charter school, right? But then you get
I
P
get
word
in trouble over there.
and then the P
And I
word.
get pregnant.
Oh, here we
Yeah.
are. Okay,
Yeah.
so now we're pregnant,
I'm
right?
14. I'm pregnant by a friend of yours from high school.
Yeah.
Damn him.
Yeah.
Jason. It's your fault, Jason. We're just gonna
Oh, my
take it out on
friends,
you.
I'm telling you, my friends.
Yeah. So that was a total, oh God. And I can remember like going home to my parents and telling them like, my mom was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like sick and throwing up. And she's like, you need to go to Planned Parenthood. Well, the condom broke. Like I was trying to protect myself.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
condom broke. I
Yeah.
got pregnant, screwing in the front seat
Stuff
of the
happens. Stuff happens.
The white Jeep.
Jeep. The red one.
Oh, the red one.
The red one. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yep.
I remember that Jeep.
Damn that thing. And yeah.
And you have an abortion at 14 years old. I
did.
mean, when you showed up there to have the abortion, was there picketers out front and stuff
No,
like that?
it wasn't anything like
No.
that. Like it was super
easy,
chill.
easy peasy.
But God, man, I look back and I'm like thinking the world that we're in right now, and like if my kids got pregnant, God forbid, oh man.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Having to live with that shit.
I know. And so, and for a lot of, for us, we're in recovery, right? So we got a late start.
Yeah.
Right.
So right now at our age is, it's like go time. It's
Absolutely.
like save, plan, like do all
Right.
the things. Like everything that my parents said my whole life, they were right.
Right.
Exactly.
Even though we hate to admit it, damn it, they were
I
right.
know.
Shout out mom and dad because they were right about everything.
Right.
If I,
Right.
you know what I mean. But I had to go through. I mean, you guys know the story,
Had to
right?
go
So
through- we
I'm
had to go
hard-headed.
through.
I have to learn the hard way.
I
no
got to
matter
touch
what.
that burner a couple more times.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And so here we are now. You have an abortion, and you're from Glendale, Peoria. So the spot was Metro Center. I can't believe
Hell.
Metro Center Mall.
Showing that age right now,
Oh my
buddy.
God.
I literally remember going
They
there as a
leveled
kid
it.
and being scared because I'm from Wickenburg, and like so that to me that
Scared
was
you're
like
gonna get shot and
the
shit.
most like the scariest experience was going to Metro.
Yeah. Well,
I'm serious.
it became the ICP crew hangout spot.
For sure.
What do they call themselves?
For sure.
Juggalos or something?
Oh, yeah, like
that
the
was
insane
like their.
clown posse.
But back in the day, it wasn't
Right.
like that. It was the spot, right? But before we had phones and social media and all
We had
these
pagers.
things, we had pagers, right?
Remember JJ, the king of beepers?
Yeah.
Fucking A.
I'm
yeah.
a little. I had like a flip phone. Actually,
Yeah,
I
we
had a
had
Nokia
pagers,
block phone in
slide-out
middle
pager,
school with
all
the
that.
antenna.
Yep.
I didn't ever use a
But
pager.
my point is like when you wanted to go hang out, you went to the mall.
Yeah,
Right.
Mom, can I go to the mall?
Yeah.
Drop me off way in the back of the parking lot so nobody sees
nobody
you.
sees.
Exactly. We used to go to Arrowhead. That was the closest mall to us.
Yeah, I remember when it was
Rich
first.
bitches.
Yeah. my wife calls like what's the one by Tempe?
Arizona Mills.
Arizona Mills. She calls out. She goes, I want to go to Arizona Mills and get some hood goodies. You know what I mean?
I love it. Hell yeah.
But you go to Metro Center and you meet a guy.
And I meet a guy and he's like walking up the escalator and I'm walking down and I'm like, ooh, you have a nice butt. And
Ooh.
before you know, I'm pregnant.
Got them cakes.
Yes.
And then next thing you know, you're 16 years old and you're pregnant.
Again.
And then what happens?
And I go to my parents again and I'm telling them that I'm pregnant and what am I going to do? And I had gotten kicked out of the charter school and I find this teen parenting school that I can go to and work at my own pace because I never wanted to be a statistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wanted to graduate.
Right.
And so I find this school that I can actually go be pregnant, even bring the baby there with me, work at my own
That's
pace.
great. They need more of that stuff
They
for
do.
women. They do.
really
man.
do.
It's such a need.
We had the alt school.
Yeah, it's.
I'm just laughing because it was like the pregnant,
Right.
the pregnant moms with their babies, and then like all the drug addicts.
yeah,
Right.
Smoking cigarettes
Yeah.
right in front of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They were all one and the same back in Wickenburg too, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And so, but you actually ask your parents if you can get married, right?
I
Like you get
did.
married at 16. How does that
did.
work?
So my
Like a
parents were
shotgun
like,
wedding.
where do I sign?
Right.
Like you're his problem now. He's your
Yeah.
guardian,
Yeah.
you know? And
How old was he? If I don't know if I'm
19.
19. Okay.
Dang.
yeah, we met. I was 15. He was 19. And then we were just a little bit, like couple months away from him turning 20. And yeah. And my parents were like, okay.
If that's what you want to do. And so, you get married, you're going to the teen school, right? And you actually graduate.
I did. I graduated a year and a half early with a high school diploma, not no GED.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good. You got the
Yeah.
high school diploma,
Do you
but
have a high school diploma, Jason?
Cactus Cobras, big shout out. You know what it is. And then big shout out to the Phoenix College Bears.
Right.
Bear up, bear down. No, I don't even know. I don't even think that's a thing, but
All I know is
what I
Love's
will
Up.
what I will tell you is
My mom went to
I won
GCU,
some
so I know
awards
Love's
over there. But it goes bad. That's
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
know. I don't even know how else to say. When we were talking before, and I've had you on my personal podcast, and just bringing back some of these memories. I mean, 16 years old. You have. How many months pregnant were you?
I was 6 months pregnant.
6 months pregnant, and you have a miscarriage.
I do.
What? I mean,
It was very, very traumatic. And like, I'm an open book about it. You know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
look back at it now and I know like God had his hand in everything.
Right.
And it was for all the right reasons of why I lost my son. Baby fell out of me in the toilet,
oh my God.
That still gives me chills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the second time.
Horrible.
you know?
The
And I'm
trauma.
in such like traumatic, like it's just like, and I'm going through it and I can remember like, instead of calling 911, like I call my mom and
Right.
my mom puts me on hold and calls 911 and thank God that I went and unlocked the door and EMTs come in and I'm like, is my baby okay?
Right.
Baby's still hanging in the toilet and I'm like bleeding out in the bathroom and they move me into the living room and I'm in such distress that I'm like, can you make sure you not get blood on the carpet? I just got it done.
And you're like, I don't want to pay the deposit.
Right. So
it's crazy where we go when we're in like a traumatic shock. Yeah, like it's almost like a psychosis.
For sure.
Yeah, it's for
sure. So my stepdad shows up, and my blood pressure's 52/10, and I'm just like, I'm way out of it, like powder, like the guy from Powder, and just completely white. And man, that was the most hardest thing I've ever been through, is remembering like my son didn't make it. Obviously, he was stillborn, and they take him and they put, they cut the umbilical cord from me and they put him in the garbage, like the plastic Walmart grocery bag, and tie him up and put him in between my legs.
That part right there, I can't even believe.
Why did they do
I know. Why
that?
did they just put him in a blanket?
Right,
That's
like,
crazy.
I was.
Here's a little bit more trauma for you.
I know.
You'll deal with this in 15 years. Don't worry. It's not okay.
Right.
Well, and miscarriages are so hush hush in the community, in the women community. So, like, even when I was going through mine in recovery, no one, like, even when I would speak about it in a meeting, they're like, people like look at me like, don't talk about it.
Right.
And it's like, I have to talk about it. I have to talk about my experience.
Absolutely. Because there's people that have been through it that just don't talk about it.
Right.
So
it makes you feel less alone when when someone's talking about this experience. And that's why we're here sharing about it today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I get to the hospital, they air vac me, and I had a lot of problems during that pregnancy, and my husband shows up to the hospital, and he thought I was still, like, I was having the baby. So he gets there thinking like,
we're having a baby.
She's in labor. Right. Let's go.
Yeah.
Go time. He's got his bag and everything.
Yep.
Overnight bag.
He gets there and he's like, where's my son? And I'm like, I lost the baby. And it was Friday the 13th.
Oh my gosh.
August 13th, 1999. I'll never forget that day, and I lost my son.
Yeah, I mean, that's just such a horrible experience. So now what we look at, the divorce and the division between mom and dad, and bouncing back and forth
over the place,
and never being settled anywhere. And even in the beginning, bouncing from Germany to Texas and doing all these things. And then you throw an abortion in the mix, which is traumatic in itself. Then you throw into your third trimester, or second, it was the third,
almost
third trimester, and you have a miscarriage. I mean,
had the nursery already, everything.
Oh my God! Then you got to take it down.
Yeah.
Well, you're past the point of worrying about having a miscarriage at that point. So kind of like let your guard down.
Yeah, unexpected. That's so hard. And so now we're looking at all these traumatic events and you're smoking weed and you're drinking and you're partying like everyone did in Peoria and in Glendale in that time period, and you're doing all these things. And so now your disease is just manifesting itself. Right? It's just continuing to need it. Because I look at two different things. I look at my disease as an engine and my recovery as an engine.
Right.
And every day it's my job to make sure through action, the program says into action, right?
Right.
And so every day I have to make sure which engine I'm gassing up.
Right.
But best believe I'm going to throw some character defects,
just
some
a little
negativity.
Bit in this engine,
right? Like, I mean, I'm human, right? So I will, but my job is to make sure that I fill up my recovery, and that's service work, and that's prayer, and that's meditation, and that's love, right? And that's forgiveness and understanding and patience and active listening, right? And so at the end of the day, my recovery has to have more gas. Yeah. Right. But right now you're gassing up the addiction engine is pouring over.
On top of that, like my husband at the time, like, he's blaming me for it. Like it's my fault.
How dare you?
He's super abusive. And
how dare you lose my son? Like
I
did
planned
it on purpose.
This shit.
Yeah, I wanted to go through that.
I totally wanted to go through that. Yeah. So we separate, and he, we take a little break, and he comes back from boot camp and
looking all good after all that boot camp, them cakes on.
Wait, did something happen though, or is that a
no? That's when
I was gonna say. I'm waiting for it. This is my kind of story. So
Haley's involved in this shit. This shit is like Haley. Yeah.
And he comes back from boot camp, and I found out that he cheated on me, and I may have tried to pull a Lorraine Bobbitt on that ass.
I freaking love it.
She tried to chop off the weenasso,
and I was unsuccessful. Yeah, I missed. Happens. I can remember like holding it and like this, and he's like,
oh my God, I would freak. Did you have that same butterfly knife from Deer Valley?
No, man, I had a straight butcher knife to
Oh
it.
my God, you
know?
pulled it off the block?
The cops show
so
up
hard
and they're
right
like, what happened?
You're
And
like,
I
"What
was
you
like,
wanna
well,
do?"
he was sticking his thing in things that he shouldn't have. And the cop's like, oh my God.
So when we say boot camp, like a
He went
female in boot camp? Like
Yeah.
another female?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of
All right.
course.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
just saying maybe he had a wild
No.
night. I don't know.
No, I'm sure that was later down
I feel
the
like
road.
it's MO for military to cheat, but I hear a lot of stories.
It's
For
hard
sure.
to, you know, the distance is hard. And, you know, when I think about the prison sentence I did and my wife and being so loyal to me that whole entire time, dude, it just
You're lucky.
straight up.
Yeah.
Like,
hard to come
I'll
by.
cry about it right
Yeah, it's
now.
MO. It's
Like,
the MO in like rodeo world too, because the cowboys are
traveling.
never home.
Yeah, and they got nice cakes.
Yep.
You know, and so
Well, and there's buckle bunnies, so
buckle
little
bunnies.
groupies.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah, like the groupies that aren't real cowgirls that show up in their little mini skirts with their fake
Yeah, with their fake
their
buckles
fake
and
buckles. They call them buckle bunnies.
shit. I see these little
You taught me something today.
yeah, I know.
Wow.
Write that down, Jason. A one and only time.
I go and watch my son out there and,
And
I'm
you
like,
see them.
little hoe.
Yeah, you see
I
him
will
out there?
literally I will literally someone will come up and talk to Tyler and I
Excuse
slide
me.
in there and I'm
Excuse
like,
me.
back up.
Yeah, excuse me.
It happened at my sister's wedding at the
No,
Road
my.
Runner. I
so-
literally walked in front of this girl. I was like, "You can go now.
Yeah.
Goodbye."
Goodbye.
Like,
I love
because
it.
they don't care.
They don't.
They see the wedding ring and it's almost like game on.
They like that more, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
And
challenge.
so back in the day when I first met my wife, we met at a company and we worked together. And, you know, so there was a couple girls in the office that liked me and this, that, and the other thing. And you know, Ash was all on some like, I'll kill you type shit.
Ashley's
like,
scary though. I'm
Yeah,
not
you
gonna
don't
lie.
wanna mess with her, dude. You
No,
don't.
she
Love
scares
it.
me.
She looks all sweet and innocent.
Yeah.
and
Don't let it fool you.
you're right. I get
She'll
it.
make you sleep on the couch for a week.
Yeah.
Straight
Or
up.
you.
Straight up. I don't want to mess with her, but she's amazing. But my point was is she had to give some girls like rides in my car and she make them sit in the back.
Like chauffeur.
Yeah, get in the back. It's so funny.
You ain't sitting
I had
up
this
front with
Mercedes
us.
that
Yeah.
I thought she looked hot in my Mercedes, you know what I mean? So I let her drive. I drove a company vehicle and she's like, get in the back.
I love
Like,
it.
oh, damn.
Hell yeah.
So, you know, you go Lorena Bobbitt and, you know, here we are again, right? And so now you move from Texas or
I
you,
separate from him for a little bit, and then he calls me a couple months later, and I was here like doing a whole bunch of ecstasy and just trying to like,
that's that time period.
Like
Yeah.
numb
Yeah.
out.
yeah, numb the pain from losing my son, numb the pain from, you know,
Right.
my husband not being able to keep his dick in his pants. And
And he
relate to
actually
that.
gets dishonorably discharged, right?
but this is later down the road a little
Yeah.
bit. I get there, he calls me and is like, listen, man, like we're married, like let's make
do
this
this.
work.
Yeah.
Right.
I get there, and within a month, I'm pregnant again.
Oh,
I
that's
drink
right.
the water, I get pregnant. You
That's
look at
literally
me,
how
get
I am.
pregnant.
Just look at me and I'm
Yep.
Yeah, there
Like,
you are.
I'm like, my tubes
That's why
are tied
I
now.
literally
Hey.
tied my tubes because it would happen again. I'd
Yeah.
probably already be
Yes.
pregnant with Tyler's baby
Yep.
right now.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
Absolutely.
5 kids is
And
enough.
so now you're pregnant again, right?
Yep.
And you're in Texas, right? And you're pregnant and you have your son and his name is Chase.
Yes.
Shout out to Chase on
I'm
the
so
bull riding.
excited.
What, he's a bull rider?
Yes. He signed
Oh my
up
God, Mom.
for
Listen, I
the
got
school this weekend. My uncle does a
Yeah.
bull riding school every year during Thanksgiving, and he signed up, which we've been trying to get him signed up for a long time. I'm super
Yes.
excited to have him out there.
I'm super excited
Yeah.
because I'll tell you what, this kid's going to be the death of me.
Well, he's
Yeah.
got the heart. Like, he's got the heart now. He just needs, like, the form. Yeah,
yes.
he just needs, like, to
he
practice
needs
a little
some
bit.
fundamentals
Yeah,
to
no.
not grab
Yeah.
the gate and
No.
fucking kill himself.
He's
Yeah.
got the cojones.
Because he
is
just
what
got
he's
hurt recently, twice. Yeah.
July and then October again. And I was
Mom's
like,
worst nightmare.
I'm telling you. Like I told him, like drugs and alcohol are not going to kill me. You are.
Right.
Yeah.
You
the
are going to
stress.
kill me. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you end up having the baby, but you know your husband were you guys married?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're married again, and you know he gets dishonorably discharged.
Yep. So I come here and that's when I had Chase.
And that's when you had
Yeah.
Chase. So he gets discharged, and as soon as you get discharged, they don't care if you're pregnant. They're like, you were living on base or
I was living off
base, but
yeah.
in their housing.
Yep.
And they're like, you got to go.
No insurance anymore.
Yeah,
9 months
bye.
pregnant.
Right. That's so scary.
Yeah.
And so you move back to AZ, and you know what was that like? Because you're out here by yourself. And shout out to all the single moms out there busting their ass,
Right.
single dads too. You know, just doing work. I mean, that is
It's tough.
Shout out to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, both of
deserve
you
it.
guys know what it's like. You
Right.
know, it's a lot. And so, but you move out here and you start doing good. So what's starting to do good look like?
So I come back here and I have my son and I file for divorce and I apply for college and I get a full ride scholarship to ASU West for elementary education, and I'm working 3 jobs and I'm doing really good. And
Are you smoking weed or drinking?
no,
or
I
just-
really wasn't
just
even
grind,
drinking.
Just on
like
that
I
grind.
was 19,
Right.
so
Yeah.
I was really just grinding and trying to like make ends meet. And I lived in Surprise at the time, so like El Mirage right next door.
I know where El Mirage is.
El Mirage.
Big Worm.
Bagel.
Dude, that's my first place I ever got arrested.
That's literally
El
where we used to
Mirage.
go get our glass. We would blow it ourselves and
Yes.
resell it to people in Wickenburg because they don't want to drive and there's no glass shop. Long
Whole
story,
El
but
Mirage.
Big worm. What's Big Worm?
It's
It's
a
a-
smoke shop.
It's a smoke shop.
Yes.
It's where we used to get our glass to blow our meth pipes, Jason.
Okay, all right.
But we would get the
I understand
big,
that.
long
The
old-
long
so
one.
we could make a bunch of them and resell them because nobody drives to Surprise like when
Yes.
you're twacked out. But we used to. Well,
That was the first place I ever got arrested. I was in a stolen vehicle, and the whole El Mirage PD had me at gunpoint,
God.
You don't wanna
laying on
mess
the
with them.
ground.
no. El Mirage is scary. I'm
It
not
is.
gonna lie, it scares me.
Yeah, no, it's gangster over there, dude, for real.
There's like a
The
few
Avondale,
ghettos
El
in
Mirage,
Phoenix that I'm scared
Tolleson.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tolleson ain't no joke either over
Yeah.
there. You're gonna be messing around. And so during this period of time, you're doing good and everything. Got your son and he's healthy and you know everything's great. But you get introduced to methamphetamines.
I do. I do.
Okay,
And
and-
it's like, just go drop your car off over here and we're going to take it and drop some stuff off. And I didn't ask questions.
Yeah,
You know,
don't
the
worry
least
about it.
I know, the better it is.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, I'm so tired. Like I'm working 3 jobs and I'm raising this baby
So
on
you
my
did.
own.
So before you really started doing meth, you started transporting.
Yeah.
For some extra money.
Yeah.
So that was your 3rd job.
Yeah. No, my 4th.
Your 4th job.
My 4th.
So now you're transporting, but you're getting tired. And,
Right.
And
And they're
you
like,
know,
just do a little bit of this. You'll be
yeah,
fine.
you'll be fine. And
And
you
then
love
before
it.
you know it, I'm like,
This
oh
is
my God,
awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
I can work 3 jobs and take
I
care of the
know.
baby.
I can't
and-
wait to do all this
Yeah.
work
I always
today.
thought I was a better mom when I was twacked out.
Hey,
I
we're-
feel like,
yeah.
because you feel like you can get so much more done and you can handle everything and this and that, but you're like, the reality is you're locked in the bedroom painting your toenails 800,000 times
In the
over and
mirror
over
trying
and
to fix
over
the
and over.
eyebrow.
Yeah.
8
Yeah.
hours
You don't
later.
even know where your baby is.
Right.
Like it's so messed
sitting
up.
in the crib.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, one thing I know for sure is that when I use, and this was a rig, and I do one shot, and as
Right.
soon as I hit everything goes away. I'd lose everything right
Yep.
there in that, everything in my whole entire life fits into that one needle and it's fucking gone.
Yep.
And so what happens?
So I get raided and I lose the apartment. I get, lose the scholarship, quit my job, get fired from 2 other jobs, and I give my parents temporary guardianship of my son.
And now
You
we're
know?
getting arrested.
And now I'm getting arrested.
Put on
and-
probation.
Yep.
And it's getting all bad.
And I'm doing meth every day, and I get pregnant
You
again.
get pregnant again.
Here it is.
Yeah, and you get pregnant again.
Yep.
And you meet this guy.
So
is
like
this-
in my mind, like I never sold my ass for money and I never sold my ass for dope, but I screwed the dope man.
I
know?
married
Yeah.
the dope man,
Yes,
so I get it.
That was my thing.
I
like,
did.
I know
yeah,
you did.
hell yeah,
Yeah.
and this guy loves me, and I'm
yep.
6 months pregnant, and I'm doing meth every day, and I can't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I relate to that.
And I get arrested.
But you want to, right?
I wanted
Right.
to so
It's
bad
so-
with my son Jude, but there was like I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't far enough removed from anybody or anything, and there
That's
was no way to get
that's
away
the
from it.
powerlessness that we
Right.
talk about, the loss of choice.
for sure.
Right.
Right. And when we say in meetings, cunning, baffling, and
Right.
powerful, the baffling feature is the utter inability to leave it alone, no matter how great the necessity or the wish.
Yep.
I
Right.
could see the need. I could wish it, dude. I'm fucking pregnant. I don't want to do this. Tomorrow I'm going to stop. Tomorrow I'm going to stop.
Right.
Tomorrow I'm going to stop. And I just can't
You're
do
just
it.
crying every
I have
time
no
you put the pipe
choice.
to your
Yeah.
mouth because you're just like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And you
I
just
have a baby
literally
from-
can't stop.
And
Yep.
so when you get sober for whatever brief period of time, you think about that gut and you're like, I'm a piece of shit.
Right.
Right. But what I also know from working a program is that I have an allergic reaction, right? The doctor's theory is that we have an allergy. It's interesting to me. Why? Because it explains things I can't otherwise account for.
Right.
So when mom and dad says, what? You're pregnant. Stop.
Right.
You did what with your kid in the car? You took her where?
Right. Yeah.
Why would you do that? And we're like,
I
don't know. But what it is we're in the midst of a physical craving beyond and mental obsession, physical allergy, physical craving that I can't control. So we're not bad people. We're sick people with an untreated illness, right?
Exactly.
Today that we're all sober and we work a program, we don't do any of those things that we have to know that we can't explain.
Right.
You know, so that's where it all goes. But you lose everything. You're 6 months pregnant. You're doing meth, and then you get arrested.
Yeah.
You're 9 months pregnant. You get a DUI.
No, that was
later.
Was a later one.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you, I got one more pregnancy.
There's one more.
Calm down, Jason.
I'm getting freaking turned up. You know? I got two of my most favorite people on the show today. This episode is off the chain.
Off the chain.
gosh.
I know. We might need to bring you on more.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm talkative for sure.
I know.
I'm
I'm
a lot
like,
more
I
talkative.
love it.
Yeah, Haley came out of her shell in this one. She can relate to your story. Like,
That's
it's like
why.
mirrors
Yeah.
your story.
Love it. So I'm 6 months pregnant, and you know, God did for me what I couldn't do for myself.
Sure.
And I got arrested, and I stayed in jail for a couple months, and you know, and mom was going to the Al-Anon classes and learning that tough love shit, and I was like, who is teaching her this?
Right.
And she'd be like, you did this to yourself, click. And I'm like, you know, like, God, come on, mom, like, I'm pregnant, please don't let me have her in here.
Yeah.
Right.
And they finally, you know, baby daddy doesn't care.
No, he
I'm
don't
thinking
care.
he's gonna get me out.
Yeah.
He's going to come for me.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. So 9 months pregnant, and I can remember being shackled and them taking me to the state hospital and checking on me, and I'm dilated to 3 in there, and I'm calling my mom, and I'm like, listen, like, I'll do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Just
please don't let me have this baby in here.
Yes. And I'm like, please, for the love of God. And so they bond me out. My bond was $1,200, $120.
Yeah, that
You know what I
Al-Anon
mean?
ain't no joke. You know, we're heavily involved with PAL, Parents of
Right.
Addicted Loved Ones. We just went to an
Yes.
event a couple, weekends ago.
Yeah.
Joey Landon, the owner of our company's on the board.
That's how he got sober.
That's-
His mom
was in PAL.
finally put boundaries up, and
But so PAL and Al-Anon, they kind of mirror each
other.
other, but the difference is they're like, love them.
Yeah.
right.
Love boundaries, yes.
But still love them.
But love them.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? And Al-Anon's like boundaries, tough love, figure it out, mofo.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and so I think that PAL is just that, you know, because my parents loved me through the whole damn thing.
Yeah,
my
right.
girl
So
loved me
did-
through the whole damn thing and bailed me out and did everything every single time.
Yep.
And for me today, that brings me an extreme amount of gratitude.
Right.
And I've also worked with a lot of guys who, and seen in women, but worked with a lot of guys whose families did the click by, and that resentment they have
It sticks.
runs so deep
Right.
that it's hard to get over that.
Yeah.
Right. And so for my own experience, you know, I mean, shout out to mom and dad, you know,
Yeah.
and so you do anything. So mom gets you out after 2 months, you have the baby, you give it up for adoption. God does for you what you can't do for yourself.
I have this baby 3 weeks early, and she was 9 pounds, 22 and a half
Oh
inches
my
long.
gosh.
Oh my
and
goodness.
not
Maybe
a
your due
trace.
date was off or
I'm
something.
telling you, 9 pounds, 22 and a half inches long, and not a trace of meth inside of her.
Thank
That's
you.
how my son,
Thank you,
he was
God.
8 pounds, 6.5
Yeah, I was
ounces.
like, could
and
you
I had
imagine
him
if we
3
didn't-
weeks early.
That's God. That's
Yeah.
God.
Absolutely.
And so you show up at Lifewell, right?
Yeah, I show up at
Shout out
Lifewell.
Life Hell. I mean, Life Well.
Ooh, you guys both went there. Did you fall in love in the med line there?
With a girl,
With
yeah.
a girl, I knew it.
Yeah, her name was Serena.
Oh,
She was this
damn.
short little Mexican with really long hair.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember it.
You remember it?
I remember everything. So I had a boyfriend outside. He was
Yeah.
at Crossroads, and he used to bring me cigarettes, and then she was my snuggle buddy
Hell yeah.
during movie nights.
Buckle, was it Buckle what?
Buckle Bunny.
Buckle bunnies, snuggle bunnies. I mean, you're really coming out of your shell today, Haley. I like this version of you.
I don't think Jason's even heard half these stories even when I was on the podcast. So.
I love it.
And so you go to Lifewell, and then after that, you go to mom's house, and then you too Well, you went lesbian for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I went lesbian for a little bit, and I
happens.
got like stipulations to me moving to mom's house was that I had to go to meetings. So I go to meetings and I meet a girl, and like,
is that your first introduction, like real introduction to AA and stuff was then? Okay.
Yeah.
So you start planting that seed, right? And you start seeing, you know, a solution. There's many paths to recovery. Don't get me wrong, right? Well, you know, our path is the, you know, big book, and Haley's path was coupled with the big book that's now evolved into
I've just like made my own
spirituality
path, I feel like,
and
with I've it just
spirituality in the Bible.
Faith,
Yes. And so, you know, it's just because our disease is progressive,
right,
but recovery is progressive as well. Right. And so is your spirituality when you're putting in the action steps.
Right.
Right. And so you go lesbian for a little bit. Where'd you guys meet?
At the CMA meeting.
Oh,
of course.
Oh, you know, that's right.
And she's a single mom and I'm a single mom. And at that time, like, I had the baby with me. So like we would go to the CMA meeting, and then she was a stripper. So then we would go to drop the babies off at the babysitter, and then we would go to the strip club, and like we were both on this F men thing because we hated men.
Right.
So
Because
we're
they're
like,
the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
They're the problem,
Pieces
not
of shit.
us. Damn them. You know, so we would con these men into thinking that they were going to get both of us, and I'd rob them blind.
Yeah.
I love it.
Rob them blind. Hustlers.
I had a
J-Lo.
hustle.
J-Lo.
I had a hustle like that.
I was
with
disappointed
this
in
guy.
that movie.
We would
I watched
set him
My
up.
side hustle, dude.
It was
Which
good.
what movie?
Hustlers.
I didn't see that
You
one
didn't see
yet.
it? It's a true story, right? The Dateline is better. Like, it's a true story. It's 48 hours. Dateline, you know, which if you guys didn't know, that's all I watch. Either
Dateline?
soccer
Dateline?
or Dateline. That's it.
Me
I got to see
too.
mugshots. I don't want to see some remake movie.
Right, where
I want to
it's like
see
glamorized a little
I
bit.
do not want to see that. I need to see real footage. Okay.
Ian's like, do I sleep with one eye open or one eye closed? Like, you're scaring the shit out of me. Knows how to do it all.
That's
yeah, I know
funny.
every trick.
Yep.
And so you're lesbian for a minute until someone walks in, right? You meet a biker tattoo artist, which I know today to be your thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
your
that's
jammy jam.
definitely your
Absolutely.
thing.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's your jam.
Yep.
Right? And so all of a sudden now you realize you're not lesbian. Then what happens from there?
I drop the stripper and go with the tattoo artist.
Okay, thank
You
you.
know? Hell's Angels, biker, 45. I was 23. I'm like, oh my God, I love him.
He's
What
the
is it with
best.
these older men like
It's
preying
like-
on us
Yes.
in our weakest moment?
And he's like, I'm going to fix you.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was doing meth
And
a
then
lot.
they try to parent
so-
you and you're like resentful.
Yeah.
Like, you're not my dad.
You're right. So I'm like,
But I kind of like that too at the same time.
yeah. And at this time, like, I was doing meth so much that when I was dropping the baby off at the babysitter's, like, I really thought I was leaving her there for 12 hours, but I was really leaving her there for 3-4 days.
Oh my gosh.
You know, and the lady's calling me like, are you going to come get her? And I was like, listen, shit's not good. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
she's getting in the way of me getting high, and
Yeah.
I just can't give her the life that she deserves.
That's
and
a
I give her
problem.
up for her adoption.
And then you give her for adoption. And that's with
And that's when it was on and popping for a little bit.
Right.
But once I met him, like, I really cleaned my life up and stopped doing meth, and I was doing good for a little while. And, but like, there's going to be no babies because he has a vasectomy.
Right.
So then I get him to go to Mexico and get the vasectomy reversal. And the doctor's like, it's going to take 6 to 12 months. And I was like, that's what you think. I'm going to drink the water, and boom, I'm pregnant.
pregnant again.
Already.
Pregnant
Boom.
again.
Pregnant again.
Last pregnancy.
It's your last pregnancy. And so this guy's got a tattoo shop, and he's in California, but you live out here in AZ. So
Yeah.
he's out here with you. But babe, I got a business. I have to go check on
Right.
it. I'll be
go
back.
home on the weekends, and I'm going to check on the tattoo shop. He was going home on the weekends to check on the wife and kids. And I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
what the hell?
Mm.
And there goes, I hate men again,
Right.
Yeah.
you know? And so my daughter that I gave up for adoption, like, her parents allowed me to live there and get on my feet.
And by the way, I know them, and she, the mother is
Lois. Yeah.
shout out.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She
And the
is.
whole family is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been to that house a million times, the party. Shout out Virgil.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just so cool.
Yeah, it's super awesome.
Yeah.
So it was an open adoption. Like, you know, I've always been in Alyssa's life. That she knows I'm her mom. You know, she just graduated high school. I got to go through all that, you know, watching her get her driver's license. And she had a miscarriage a couple months ago, and I got to walk
it.
her through
Oh
that,
my
you know?
God.
So, like,
Wow.
with my experience of my miscarriage, I got to walk her through that. And it's just, you know, man.
Shout out to that family though
Yeah.
for giving you that ability.
Because a lot of people just want to close the door and just say,
be done with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
So they're a huge part of my recovery. But, I bring this other baby into the world, and it's a little girl, and her name's Lolo, and I want to be the best mom possible.
Yeah, I'm going to do it this time.
Yeah.
This is my time.
And then I meet my ex-husband, Jason, and your friend.
My friend. Yeah.
Another one of Jason's
Yeah.
friends.
I know. I'm telling you, when we sat down and we're like, we know each other. I think we know each other. Oh, I remember now. It was a Facebook. I made a comment on someone's page.
Yep.
That was like a personal comment that from like way back, and then you called me. You're like, hey, like because we had each other's number, or you hit me on Messenger or something, and you're like, wait, how, you what?
Yep,
that's crazy.
And then we talked
you
for
guys
like
are like really intertwined.
We talked for like an hour about it. It just continued to like spawn into like who and him and this and that, and like what.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, like it is a trip.
So I get married, and after I have my daughter, and I get married to Jason, and like, man, we're toxic as hell together. I started doing meth again a little bit because, like my weight has always been a big thing. And I know
that meth diet.
Yes.
Jenny Crank
I
diet.
guess. Yes.
Yeah.
Jenny,
Do a little bit of meth. I'll lose
Crank.
20 pounds. Think that
and then you're on and cracking because you can't just quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have her and I'm stringing her along through all this, and we're very toxic to each other, and like I'm not innocent. I'll beat the shit out of you just as much as you beat the shit out of me.
She ain't playing. Yeah, she ain't playing.
Yeah. And now I'm a fighter, not a lover,
Right.
Back then, in high school, I was scared, Now I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, after everything you've been through, there's
Right.
a lot of built up, trauma
Absolutely.
and anger,
Right.
and it manifests and it shows in so many different ways,
Yeah.
Well, and even when you talk to like, therapists or whatever, they're like, oh, you're angry. Okay, well, where's that come from?
It's a secondary.
It's a secondary emotion, right? So where's it really come from? Let's get to the root of the problem.
Right.
So during this period of time, you're doing meth, trying to lose weight, you're in a toxic relationship, you're doing hair, right?
Yeah.
That's your jam too,
Yeah.
right? You're out there doing hair.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden now someone said, you probably like just guessing, someone was like, saw you smoking meth and are like, what are you doing?
So Jason
Like,
and I
that's
get
a
divorced.
waste.
Yep. Jason and I get divorced, and I went through another relationship for a little bit, and then I went to, the worst relationship of all. And 2015, I got introduced to the needle, and I got introduced to heroin, and it was on and popping from
It's
there.
crazy, like looking back at how quick I started using IV because my dad and my sister were already using IV with heroin.
Yeah.
And they was like, literally, I was like, well, I'm never going to get high. No one smokes around here.
Right.
So like literally within like a month, I was straight to the needle, and
Yeah, and
Love
once you
It's
do
all
the
bad.
needle,
there's
it's
no
all
going back.
No.
It's,
Once you
can't
cross
ever
into
smoke
that-
want
it
to
again.
smoke some heroin off this tray. I was
No.
like, ew,
Right.
burnt chicken.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's on and cracking.
Yeah,
And just like I said, your whole life fits in one rig.
Right.
And as soon as you do it, boom, it's gone.
Right. Your
Yep.
kids are gone.
Everything.
The job, everything.
And so how many days does it take for everything to be gone?
32.
32, we're talking a month. And I mean, because that right there, that statement shows how progressive our illness is. It gets worse, never better.
Right.
And every time we pick back up, or every time we go
You
back,
lose it so much faster every time.
Yeah,
and we look at our
Right.
experience and we couple it with whatever program you choose to couple it with. The big book is our life story.
Right.
And then we say, yeah, well, shit. Well, if I want to recover, I got to do what they did. I always argue with old timers when they say the book is suggestions. They're directions, bro.
right.
Right.
No,
Like-
totally.
It says further on are clear-cut directions. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
sorry.
Jason,
All right,
you're-
my bad. Okay, I'm back.
He
Do what it says
Yes.
is what Jason.
Him and my husband are a lot similar when it comes to that. I'm like, you're so rough. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like men in the program are a little bit tougher.
they're a little harsh,
Yeah.
man. I'm like,
But they need it though.
yeah.
I feel like some of us need a softer approach, which
Right,
was my
and that's how
my
I am.
experience.
My
I needed a little
Everybody is
softer
different.
approach.
Absolutely.
You got to meet them where they're at.
Right.
Everybody that I've sponsored is a little bit different of approach, but you lose everything in 32 days, and DCS gets involved, and your sister's there, and the toxic relationship, and finally you're just like, dude, I got to do something. You go to Native American Connections.
I do, and I'm a bougie ass drug addict. Like, So you got me messed up if you think I'm like taking the light rail or the bus to go. And God's got jokes, man. He puts me right in the heart of Phoenix and 14th Street in Van Buren. And
shout out Van Buren.
I did my 45 days, and then I did my 90 days IOP and 90 days sober living, and 14th Street in Van Buren, and I'm having to like walk to the bus stop and then take it down to Central and take the light rail. And I'm like, I'll steal your car, I'll steal your motorcycle type thing. You got me messed up if you think I'm walking like this.
Right.
So, yeah. And I do good, and I'm doing good for a while, and I graduate IOP, and my downfall is I always go back to mommy and daddy's house.
Yeah. I can relate to that so much.
Always go back. And
it's like they're just, you don't know how many times I have went to mommy and daddy.
And it fucks us up every time.
Yeah. And I love them for it. You know, but like this time it was like, it feels, my parents they're still like, let me pay for dinner. And they're like, you know what I mean? Like my mom just doesn't want me to spend any money. Like that's just
your
how
mom's a sweetheart.
She is, right?
She's
badass, right? And so I totally understand that. But at some point it's like, I got to do this.
Yeah.
Like I got to do this. Right. And so you finally get to the point where you relapse.
I'm doing good for a little bit, and then I relapse. I get cocky, like, oh, I got this. I don't need to call my sponsor, and I'm working back at the salon, and I have a little mishap on alcohol first, and then within 30 days, I was
already
back to
running and
dope.
gunning.
Yeah, shooting dope, and I lost it all. DCS is like, listen, we're gonna give you a chance to redeem yourself, and I had no fight left in me. I was just over it. And I can remember my daughter calling me the day before the court hearing. And she's like, Mom, like, just leave him and like, let's start our life over. And I was like, it's going to be fine, honey. Like, we're going to start our life over, and he's going to be there. And she's like, no, Mom, we're not. We're not.
Yeah.
And I signed the papers the next day, and they severed my rights, and she got adopted by my little sister, and they changed her name and everything, and it just put me on a relapse for 1.5 years.
Right.
Now we're at the point where everything, all that trauma and everything that has come from all that, you're now feeling all of it.
Absolutely.
And that's why we talk about that cycle of a spree.
It's an excuse for a long time too.
It's the solution to it. It's the solution to it. When I get high, I don't think about any of the horrible things that I don't think, I don't feel, I don't care. Yeah. Right. And so living in that cycle for so long, finally,
you just get so desperate.
Yeah. You get given the gift of pain and desperation. And what was that like, that moment? Why don't you shout out your sobriety date?
11/22/17.
Ooh, that 5-year mark. Oh, congratulations again. And that's
today.
So cool that we got to have you on your 5-year birthday.
I know, we kind of planned that a little bit.
Good job.
Just a little bit.
And it's perfect, man.
It is perfect.
Just congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. Like after hearing your story and what you've been through.
You're a miracle.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, straight up.
Crazy.
But you don't just get to have 5 years. There's work that comes,
Oh my gosh.
And so now you get given the gift of pain and desperation. You've been introduced to CMA, right? And but before, if you're anything like me, you were looking for the differences instead of the similarities.
Absolutely.
And you missed everything. And finally now your ears are open and you hit the ground running. And so what does hit the ground running look like for your recovery?
So like, I don't suggest the way that I did it. You know what I mean? Like, go to treatment. Get some extra. And this time around, like, I knew what I needed to do. I needed to get away from the dude, and I needed to get away from the drugs and the alcohol, and I was going to be okay. I went to the meetings. I started hanging around women. Again, I fucking hated women.
Yeah.
Like I hated men, and then I went through the whole...
I can relate to that a lot.
Yeah, shout out to the women in your life. Why don't you shout some of them out?
Oh, my God. My sponsor, Tara, my, Lanny, my grand sponsor, Lily. Like, these are women that are just...
We'll give Val a
Valerie.
Yeah,
Fuck, man. Like... Valerie, I love that girl so much, and just I'm super blessed by these women that surround me. You
gotta have them.
Absolutely.
And so you surround yourself by women who've done what you need to do before, and you start taking suggestions, and you get a sponsor, and you work the steps. What was that time period like?
So I jumped back in with both feet, and this time, like, I'm not doing it to appease DCS. I'm not doing it to appease my sister and my family. It's like I'm
doing
really
it for yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
And kids are a good motivator, but you can't do it for them.
Yeah.
You
I remember
can't.
The motivators, you're right.
When I was in treatment one time, this girl came up to me and she's like, I wish I had kids like you and I'd be more motivated to get clean. And I'm like, dude, my kids, I'm not here because my kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they don't motivate you at all. So
Yeah,
No,
well,
I get it.
I mean, they can motivate you, but they can't.
you can't do it.
You can't
You
do
can't
it. Yeah, you're 100%
because of
right,
them.
Haley.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're 100%
I
right.
was like, why would you wish that?
Right.
Like this sucks.
I chose men and I chose drugs
Right.
over my kids, straight
Yeah.
up. And I can hold my head high today and know that that's what I did.
Right.
You know, I was sick.
And so you started to treat those things by working the steps of
Right.
in Alcoholics Anonymous, and you work the steps, and those steps give you the ability to treat the trauma and treat the resentment and treat the fears and
Right.
treat the sex inventory is about relationships.
Right.
So you know what you want.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, it's about just knowing how to have a meaningful relationship and looking at it on paper and seeing that you've never had one before.
Right.
Right.
So you better learn because life is a series of relationships. Business, family, friendships,
Right.
sexual, intimate relationships, right? Like everything is a relationship. And I look at it on paper and I see that I'm so damn selfish
Right.
that I don't know how to have one. So let's figure
Right.
that out. And so you treat it, right?
I do. And like I said, I'm not doing it for anybody but myself this time. And I didn't see my daughter that I lost to DCS. I didn't see her for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
You know? And at that time, like, we're addicts, man. Like, hey, I got 90 days sober. Let me see my kid. You know
Right.
what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
No, you already fucked her up that much.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you promised all these things.
You
and
need we need to see the work first before we allow it. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, like, my relationship isn't anywhere near what I want it to be, but I have a relationship with her. Like, I have her phone number, I text her, I call her.
Right.
But yeah, like, God placed that little girl in my life at the right time. And when he was ready for me to be there.
That's
and,
right.
Yeah.
And then at some point in your recovery journey, you meet Mr. Day.
I
We can't
do.
forget about that.
Oh my gosh.
What was
never.
it? What was the day like when
That
you
was
met
a
him?
pivotal moment in my sobriety, man.
Yeah.
Like, we were at the CA convention, and he's like, you know, him and I had been following each other on social media for like almost a year. And he hit me in my DMs and was like, "You're hanging out with my friends." And I was like, "You want to come to our hotel and party with us?
Yeah.
We're at the convention.
We're slamming Red Bulls.
Yeah,
Right.
we're playing water pong, you know?"
Yeah, with Red Bull.
Oh my gosh, those conventions are wild.
Yes, and we met at the CA convention in 2019, and I remember him walking into the hotel room, and like, I looked at my girlfriend by the end of the night. I said, "I'm gonna marry that guy one day," and she's like, "Bitch, you're crazy."
Yeah, you
I
better
said,
stop.
"No."
You better stop
Yeah.
yourself. And you're like, "No, I'm serious."
No,
Isn't
I'm
it
serious.
funny
Yeah.
when we find the one that like you just know?
My
Yeah.
wife said the same
That's
thing.
literally what Tyler told me. Like
Yeah.
the night
Yeah.
we started like actually hanging out, he's like,
When you
You're-
know,
you're-
you know.
"You're never
Yeah.
leaving me," and I'm like,
Right.
"Okay."
Yeah. And he tried to like play it real hard at first. Like,
Right.
let's learn about each other. Let's make a
Just do it
friendship.
the right way, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Ew.
licked it. It's mine.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
but the thing is you guys both work a solid ass program.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so now because we've got awareness, that's what we gain through the steps. And so when we're aware, we're responsible.
Right.
So we know, like, you know, this is the one, but shit, let's not mess this up.
Right.
We
Right.
have
So
to work a lot harder.
yeah, let's make sure, let's apply some of the things that we've been teaching others to do.
So August we met, 2019. September we got together, made it official. October we moved in together, got our first place, and then November DCS came knocking at the door, and his baby's mom's one of us.
Yes.
Even though she doesn't like to admit it, sometimes she is.
Yeah.
And
Right.
she had gotten the kids taken away, and we got the opportunity to get his son.
Yes.
So, and yeah, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go.
Right.
And he's 3, and I'm like, my kids are all grown. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? So
yeah.
like, God,
was
it's
hard.
starting all over, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do?
But you're doing it.
Yeah.
But you had the opportunity to be there and
But
be
you were
present.
prepared, dude. The work a program.
Yeah.
It
Right.
prepares you for life.
It's funny because Tara, my sponsor, she was like, bitch, like, open your eyes and realize that God's doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself. He put that little boy in your life at the right time.
Right.
Not only that you could be there and be, you know, a mother figure to him while his mother is sick, you're ready for this.
Right.
And I fought it for a couple months. Like I was, it was a lot.
Right.
Because I had so much guilt and so much shame
Yeah.
of not being able to
Yeah.
raise my kids. So how am I going to raise somebody else's, you know? And how am I going to give him this unconditional love? He's 6 years old. He's still alive. No broken bones. Knock on wood, you know,
Been some
doing the
years,
deal. And now we have his 8-year-old that lives with
I was
us
gonna
too.
say you got two. You got two now.
Started all over. Like I said, mine are 21, 19, and 18. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, here
Right.
we are. But you have the ability to do that, you know. And when you were given that gift of pain and desperation 5 years ago, over the last 5 years, you've sponsored women this entire time. You've
Right.
always held service
Right.
commitments. You're always with the herd. You're
Yeah.
at all the conventions. You're at
Speaking
every
of
meeting.
conventions, I got the CMA chair convention.
Yeah.
So
nice.
I'm running that shit this year.
Nice. I mean, and we're
Watch
talking.
out.
That's
Yeah, I
exciting.
mean, so you're involved. You're an
Absolutely.
all-star in this recovery community. Everybody knows you because you are there.
Right.
You have to
Right. You have to be there. You know, and a lot of times when we get people on the show and then we share their story and we get to the end, and even when we do speaker meetings, right? I always spend too much time on not enough on the solution, right? Because there's a
Right.
lot, right? But the facts is you work a solid ass program and continue to do that. And that right there and your connection to God is giving you the ability to have the life you have, to have a 3-year-old come in your life, to have an 8-year-old come in your life, to parent your other kids the best of your ability that you can and be available. Do all those things while working in recovery, because you've worked all over recovery, right? On everything that you've done has prepared you to have the job, and you've held every damn position in recovery, right? You're at all the events, recovery stuff, business development. Everybody knows you because you're on that grind.
Right.
You work a program.
Helped me stay sober this long. you
Yes,
know?
dude,
Right.
it's
For
all
sure.
in there. I mean, we don't need to shout out all the different places that you've worked, but you've worked at, a few because you stay. You have longevity because you work hard. You work a program.
Right.
Damn, work a program, right? Like,
This opportunity, this new job that I just
let's talk
started.
about that for a
Oh
second,
my
because that's what it's all
gosh.
about. Art of our soul, dude. The paintings are sick.
Yeah.
Right,
It's,
Brandon
it's
Lee is
such a fun
I want to meet him.
environment,
Damn.
too. Like, I'm
We're
so
gonna get
excited
in
for
there.
you.
Yeah, and it's just
Talk a
it's
little
cool.
bit more about like what's new with them, like expansion, like
can't-
what's going on. You can't talk about it yet.
I can talk a little bit. So we are expanding to another location. I can't.
Whoop,
Yeah.
whoop.
Undisclosed
Yay.
location.
Yes,
We,
Undisclosed.
you
it's
right.
going to
you
be-
heard it first on Sanctuary Radio.
So when Brandon came to me last week and he talked about it, he's like, listen, I want to hire you to manage my second art studio. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh. But I prayed about it, and I knew that God was doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. And it was time, it was time for me to spread my wings and fly. And
Right.
this opportunity that I have right now is just beyond my wildest dreams. I started with him 2 months ago, working just on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then evening, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and teaching the Flow Crit girls
Right.
and the Valet del Sol adolescents, and they get to bring the babies in, and
Aw.
that was me, man. That was
Right.
Yeah.
totally me. So I get to experience all these great things
At
and,
while getting paid.
while getting paid, and it fills my cup
I mean,
up
I'm getting paid right
so
now, too.
much,
I know.
right?
I couldn't imagine doing any other job. Like, I've thought about it.
I'm
like
on the
going
clock.
back to waitressing or doing this, and it's like nothing feels as good as working in recovery and watching
Right.
somebody get it, or
And
just
I'm
even
working
being there.
Yeah, I'm working in recovery, just not how I was. I'm
Right.
working in a different environment.
right.
And being able to see the light click on. Like yesterday, we did Arizona Women's Recovery Center. Shout out.
Yeah,
Mercy Care helped them
Yes.
get a grant for a whole year
Yeah,
I love it.
so that they could come.
there's a thing right there that they sponsored. It's a memorial golf tournament. We sponsored a hole at it, and I got to meet a bunch of the employees that work there, and just amazing.
God, dude,
You
I
know
love it.
what they do.
And I got to play with the babies yesterday, and everybody that knows me knows babies are my weakness.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
call Valerie Mary and
Yep.
borrow the baby.
Yeah,
I'm the same
Let me
way.
get Anthony
Yeah.
real quick.
Yep. Listen, you need me to babysit? I got you.
Yeah, I need a date night. Bad.
That's how I get my baby fixed now instead of just getting
Yep.
pregnant. I'm like,
Yeah.
please bring me
Great
your
idea.
baby.
Absolutely.
Great idea, ladies.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's good.
Love
I'm
it.
glad we got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Tubes are tied. We're
I
good.
always say like my pregnancies were like an addiction in itself. Like it filled me up and
back to back to
Yep.
back to back.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you have this amazing life and your dream job you just recently landed. Congratulations on that. So where can they find you guys? How could they get in touch? Because we have a bunch of different treatment centers who support our page and subscribe to our
Absolutely.
show all across the nation. If they want to get their clients over there for some art and therapy and just be involved in the beautiful program that you guys have, where can they find you guys at?
Hit me up on Instagram at Christin Day 82. I just changed it. It was Wifey 82, and I was trying to be like appropriate, you know.
Yeah, good idea. Good
And
idea.
then Facebook, hit me up on Christin Day as well. I'm doing the business development side for him and getting the treatment centers in. So
If you go on social media, you can find her
You'll find
easily.
me.
Yeah.
So-
Just go to my friends list and you can see.
Yeah, I know.
Or
You'll find her.
Jason's.
She's
Yeah.
everywhere. You can go on Brandon Lee's page. You can hit that page
Absolutely.
up.
Right.
The Art of Our Soul. Find it. If you want to be involved, you want to get the clients there, please reach out to
out.
Christin Day. Reach out to Brandon Lee. Reach out to all their social media. But also, too, if you have a family member or loved one desperately in need or anyone that you know, reach out to us here.
Absolutely.
We have
Right.
every level of care here, minus a detox. We have every other level of care, residentials to IOP, to sober living. We got all that all in-house, full continuum of care. Haley, where
best.
can they find us at?
They can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, all Sanctuary Recovery Centers, and then sanctuaryrc.com is our website. And even if we are full, we will help find you placement.
Yeah.
And everywhere that
Absolutely.
we place, we have toured ourselves, we have laid eyes on, so we don't send you to, some scary
hole in the wall
Yeah,
place.
we're going to send you to a nice facility.
Right.
We're going to help you out.
Yeah, so the point is,
Absolutely.
if you know, call.
Yeah.
Same
Right.
thing with this. Pick up the phone. You remember that?
Right.
That's the hardest
Pick up
part.
the phone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pick up the phone and call. Kristen, thank you for
This was
being on the
such an
show
awesome
today.
podcast.
So much.
I love
I'm so
ya.
proud of you,
Thank
Haley.
you.
You just really.
I don't know. You're like got this like calm energy that just
Yeah.
like Jason makes me freaking nervous, and then he brings his like guy friends on, and they're like having a bromance, and I'm over here
Yeah.
like the third wheel. I'm
I
like,
Yeah,
love
that's
it.
happened several times.
it's happened a lot.
Yeah, more than several.
And
But-
he's a heroin addict. I'm a meth addict, so he has to explain different things
Yeah.
to me, and I'm like,
You're like,
I don't know what that is.
But today
Yeah.
hit the nail on the head,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah.
We need more meth addicts. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Girl power.
Yeah,
Girl
exactly.
power. Well, thank you for being on the show and
Thank
continue to
you.
subscribe to Sanctuary Radio. You know where to find us. Subscribe, like, share all of our material, man. Just spread the word, spread the message. We're dropping episodes every Friday. The next episode that will drop this Friday, the next episode that will drop will be J Dow, Sober Music Company. It was an
Love
awesome
Right.
episode, and Kristen's episode will be to follow. So continue to support the cause and help people recover from this illness. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you again for
Thank
being
you
on the
so
show.
much for having
Thank you.
me.
And happy 5 years.
Thank you.
5 years.
I know. See you next time,
Crazy.
everybody.
See ya.